And now heading over to Decatur, our Sydney Stallworth is joining us live with details on how groups in the valley are already preparing to help with damage. Sydney, what are you all seeing out there?
Hey Connor, like Jordan and Emily have been letting us know, we're definitely going to see some severe weather today. And just moments ago, we had a heavy round of rain and thunderstorms, but we're actually on the other end of that, thank goodness. But we're here at Decatur City Hall just to prepare, because you should know that with tornadoes and heavy winds, damage can come in the blink of an eye, and local churches are already gearing up to help. We stopped by Priceville Church of Christ a bit earlier. We spoke with Minister Eric Cheney. If you're not familiar, Priceville, Decatur, Flint, and Huntsville Churches of Christ and more churches now make up Project Unify, a storm damage response team. They went to Texas after the winter storm and helped families recover after the deadly Fultondale tornado. Now they're expecting damage here in the valley, and they're already on standby to help.
We will find out the location. We like to contact the local authorities, make sure we don't get in their way. If there's emergency response units, people needing medical help, we want to make sure all those needs are addressed, and as soon as those are clear, we'll be headed down.
Project Unify is always collecting donations. Some of the things that they find people are in need of are non-perishable food, tarps, nails, and storage containers. And you can donate to Priceville Church of Christ or any of the churches I mentioned before. We could be in need of some of those donations right here in the valley. Back to you, Connor.